Hey everybody, it's Ricardo, and I am here with David Allen from Sega, who's brought us something pretty special. You actually brought Sega's very first Kinnect game called Sonic Freeriders, yeah?
Yep, there it is right there.
There it is. All right, so what is it? If we can hop into it, it looks like we saw a little bit of it at E3. So it's based on the Sonic Riders
Correct, yeah.
series?
So everyone's probably familiar with Sonic Riders, the airboarding game. So we've taken that concept and made it work for Kinnect.
And so these are a lot of the characters from that game. Now this isn't the final roster, right? So for context, is this is just a demo, or is it a chunk of the game?
Correct. This is basically a part of the game, but we've got some more work to do on it in terms of expanding some of the content, some of the characters, and obviously we're going to just show you one track today, but there'll be lots more tracks in the final game. Now,
I'm seeing your demo over here. Go through the menus by kind of moving his arm diagonally and then sliding. How's that work?
Well, it's just exactly as you'd expect. You know, everyone's familiar with the idea that you kind of lose the controller with Kinnect, and it really just uses your body to manipulate both the user interface and also, of course, the game as well. So it's just what you expect from Kinnect. You can imagine that it's about controlling the game with your movements. It works right throughout every aspect of the game.
All right, so typically you would be pushing buttons right now, but that's not happening. So what are we doing? How do we play this game?
Well, it's about basically full body motion control. As you'd kind of expect from the way Kinnect's been described to people, you may have seen stuff from E3. You move your body and your character on the screen moves to mimic that movement. So you're really basically controlling the player through the movements that you make with your body in front of the Kinnect camera.
All right, now this looks like one of the levels we've seen before. So can you tell us, in terms of content, where are you guys pulling from? Is it just one of the Sonic Riders games, or is it both?
We're pulling from both games, pulling the best elements, the best tracks, and some of the kind of the best content, the best gameplay mechanics from both those games. Adding a few little things as well and polishing it, and then that'll be the final game.
All right, now I'm seeing that he's balancing on the rails using his arms. Like, how interactive is this besides just kind of standing in place and moving back and forth?
Well, as you can see, Sam right now is basically mimicking exactly what he wants the character to do, or Sonic to do on the screen, and that's happening pretty faithfully. There's some basic movements, moving forward and back to kind of lean as you go around the corners, just as you would do on a skateboard or on a snowboard, for example. But there's a few other things you can do with your arms, and you just saw Sam jumped up and twisted around in the air, pulled a little skill move, and that was up on the screen. Crouch to get kind of the lift as well, just before you hit the lip. Again, the same kind of thing you do if you're riding a skateboard or riding a snowboard. It's that intuitive kind of experience and things you do on the board.
And now he's swimming.
Room. Exactly, yeah, which makes perfect sense.
Of course, yeah. It does. Now, we've seen some of the power-ups that he hasn't picked one up just yet, but now, you know, the game has power-ups. How do you trigger those?
Well, basically, you collect them, and then there's a movement you can do. For example, hopefully you'll see him pick up a golf club in a minute, and you just swing as you would a golf club as you ride, and you can basically, that happens on the screen as well. Your character mimics that, Sonic mimics that, and that's just, you know, it is really intuitive. You just do exactly what you'd expect, and there's the bowling ball. You release that, like that, you can take out opponents.
Now, just in terms of content, you know, we're just seeing a demo. What are you guys planning to put in the game in terms of modes?
There'll be several different gameplay modes, different race styles. There's some co-op stuff, so there'll be different elements or different kind of ways of taking each track. I can't really talk about those right now because, you know, we're trying to get those things into the game. But watch this space for more news.
All right. Now, what are the multiplayer options?
Yeah, there's multiplayer in it. I mean, if anything, Kinnect's about being sociable. It's about getting your friends together and playing in a room. Definitely get to play some different multiplayer modes. Again, it's one of those things we are rushing as much as possible to put as much content in the game as possible, and we'll just, you know, we'll see how far we get with it.
All right. Now, is there going to be any extra stuff? You might be answering this with the same "watch this space soon" response, but stuff like, are we going to be able to use our avatars in this game? Stuff like that. Does that seem like something you guys are going to be aiming for?
Watch this space. Yeah.
All right.
Again, it's, you know, we're trying to make this game as enjoyable, as full as possible. We are trying to make sure we get out there around launch in November this year. So it's new hardware. As everyone knows, the new hardware cycle dev guys have to get used to it, understand how it works, and then kind of from that point start to build more stuff in. So rest assured we're trying to get as much content, as much mechanics in the game as possible, and that's certainly one of the things we'll be looking at.
Now, we just saw him boost by kind of like hitting his foot, like he's pushing off on a board. You know, as far as the actual mechanics of the game go, if you've played the previous Free Riders game, then you should be pretty comfortable with this one, right?
Yeah. If you're familiar with the original, the first two games, then you'll know what the game's all about. But the main thing is, if you've ever seen him on skateboard, or seen him on snowboard, or indeed if you're a skateboarder or a snowboarder yourself, then you know what to do to make the game work. Basically, it's very intuitive.
One of those things being avoid the large bowling ball.
Yeah, you suck, Sam. You need to practice.
Now, one thing we saw just a little bit earlier was when you have some kind of negative effect on you, you have to interact with it. There was like ink on the screen, and you have to wipe it off. How many things like that are going on?
I can't say how many for sure right now, but it's those elements that make the race interesting. You know, you can be out front, way ahead, or behind by some way, but there'll be an element in the AI or one of your opponents, maybe your friend, has a power-up they can use against you and vice versa. So there's quite a few of those things that are designed to kind of make the racing a little bit closer, a little bit tighter, and therefore more enjoyable.
All right, David, thank you for bringing it by. So big question, when's it coming out?
Fall this year.
Awesome, thank you. Well, there you go. That is your first look at Sonic Free Riders for Kinnect for Xbox 360. Check back on the site for more. Until then, back to the show.